When we think about a country with the 9th largest oil reserves in the world, we imagine something like this, or even this. Modern cities, luxurious lifestyles and high-tech infrastructure. Oil is the lifeblood of the global economy, and countries that have it in abundance are often seen as destined for wealth and success. But what if I told you there is a country with fewer than 7 million people, vast oil wealth, and yet most of its population lives in extreme poverty? Are you kidding? How is it even possible? Libya is rich, crazy rich in oil, with enough reserves to make it one of the wealthiest countries on paper. But still, millions of Libyans are struggling to survive. So what went wrong? Guys, hit a like button, subscribe, and let's find out why hasn't this massive oil wealth led to the prosperity it should. Libya is sitting on an incredible treasure. With Africa's largest oil reserves and the 9th largest in the world, it produces an impressive 1.1 million barrels of oil every single day. This isn't just a small portion of Libya's economy, it's a lifeblood of the entire nation. Oil makes up a massive 95% of the Libya's exports and more than 50% of its GDP. With such vast resources, it should be one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Yet, despite all this wealth beneath the surface, Libya's everyday people continue to struggle. The country's oil wealth should be a ticket to prosperity, but it's clear that something isn't adding up. Libya's oil wealth has always been tightly controlled, especially under the rule of Muammar Gaddafi. For over 40 years, Gaddafi used oil money to strengthen his hold on power, funneling much of the country's vast wealth into the pockets of his inner circle. While the country had enormous reserves, the wealth mostly stayed with the ruling elite, leaving ordinary Libyans struggling. Gaddafi's regime also used oil revenues to maintain control over the population and finance military ventures across Africa, rather than investing in the country's infrastructure or its people. When Gaddafi was overthrown in 2011, the country plunged into chaos. The power vacuum led to a civil war, with various militias and competing governments fighting for control of Libya's oil fields. This instability turned the country's greatest assets into a source of conflict. The country became divided, and oil production dropped significantly as rival factions tried to seize key oil infrastructure. Even after the revolution, Libya's wealth from oil still isn't reaching its people. Corruption has continued to thrive. Government officials and business elites often exploit the oil revenue for personal gain, draining the country's resources. While the country has the means to thrive, the system in place has been siphoning off wealth, leaving the majority of Libyans in poverty. Do you think Libya's oil can still unlock its future, or is it too late to fix the system draining its resources? Guys, don't hesitate to get more involved and share your thoughts in the comments. Despite Libya's massive oil wealth, many regions, particularly in the east, remain severely underdeveloped. While the western parts of the country, such as the capital Tripoli, have some modern infrastructure, the east continues to struggle with poor roads, unreliable electricity, and a lack of basic services. Even though Libya has enough resources to build a thriving nation, the oil wealth hasn't been used to develop the country's infrastructure. Basic living conditions for many Libyans are harsh. In the eastern part of the country, many people live in poverty without access to clean water, proper healthcare, or decent housing. It's a stark contrast to what you would expect from a country with such a vast wealth. Citizens from these areas report living in rundown neighborhoods, dealing with power outages, and facing difficulty in getting medical care or even basic needs. Some reports suggest that nearly 1.5 million Libyans live without access to reliable healthcare, while large parts of the country's rural areas don't have a proper road network. Even with billions in oil revenue, these regions continue to lack the infrastructure to help citizens improve their quality of life. Libya's economy is heavily state-controlled, with the government playing a dominant role in all major sectors. This centralization has stifled private entrepreneurship and innovation, making it difficult for small businesses to thrive and for the new industries to develop. The lack of economic freedom means that the country struggles to diversify its economy beyond oil, leaving it overly reliant on black gold. This over-reliance on oil is one of Libya's biggest economic challenges. Oil accounts for more than 50% of the country's GDP and 95% of its exports, which makes the nation extremely vulnerable to fluctuations in global oil prices. When prices drop, so does Libya's economy. Other sectors like agriculture and tourism, which could help create jobs and stabilize the economy, remain underdeveloped. For example, despite having fertile land, Libya imports a significant portion of its food because its agricultural sector is neglected. The tourism industry, once a potential growth area, is also stagnated due to political instability and lack of investment. In Libya, the ongoing conflict and military rule have created a complex and volatile environment that hampers development and stability. Militias, many of which are funded by Libya's oil wealth, continue to exert control over large areas of the country. These groups operate with little oversight and often clash with one another, creating an atmosphere of insecurity and preventing efforts to rebuild infrastructure and provide basic services to citizens. Since the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, Libya has been governed by two competing factions: the Tripoli-based Government of National Unity in the west and the Tobruk-based House of Representatives in the east. Both governments, while claiming authority over the country, are riddled with corruption, internal power struggles, and an inability to deliver essential services like electricity, healthcare, or education. The Tripoli government, backed by militias and international actors like the United Nations, struggles to maintain control in the face of constant threats from rival factions. Meanwhile, the Tobruk government, largely supported by eastern militias and warlords, has failed to bring stability to the oil-rich regions of the east. As a result, Libya remains deeply divided, with its oil wealth being misused to fuel the very conflicts that prevent its people from enjoying the prosperity they deserve. Millions of citizens are trapped in a state of perpetual conflict, suffering from poverty, poor healthcare, inadequate education, and damaged infrastructure due to constant fighting. In Libya, over 50% of young people aged 15 to 24 are unemployed, according to the United Nations. Despite the country's vast oil wealth, the job market is grim, and many young Libyans have little hope for a brighter future. The lack of work opportunities has left them stuck in poverty, with no clear path forward. As a result, many young people are turning to militias for survival. With limited job prospects, joining armed groups offers a way to earn money and gain some power in a country where opportunities are scarce. Others, desperate to escape, risk dangerous journeys across the Mediterranean, hoping to find better opportunities in Europe. The situation is heartbreaking. Libya's young generation, which should be the backbone of the country's future, is instead left struggling, caught between the instability at home and the harsh realities of the trying to restart over in a foreign land. Libya's oil wealth is supposed to fuel the country's growth, but much of it vanishes into the pockets of corrupt officials and businessmen through shady deals, black market schemes, and illegal transfers. Billions of dollars that should benefit the Libyan people end up in the foreign bank accounts, far from the country's struggling citizens. The widespread corruption has contributed to crippling inflation and currency devaluation. The country operates with two different exchange rates, one official and one on the black market, leading to huge discrepancies in prices. This has caused a dramatic rise in the cost of living, making basic goods and services unaffordable for the average Libyan. Hyperinflation has eroded the purchasing power of citizens, leaving many unable to afford food, medicine, or even simple necessities. As the gap between the rich elite and the average person grows, it's clear that the economic mismanagement of Libya's oil money is only deepening the crisis. In 2011, NATO's intervention in Libya was intended to overthrow Muammar Gaddafi and bring stability to the country. However, it had the opposite effect. While Gaddafi's regime fell, the destruction of state institutions and infrastructure left a power vacuum, paving the way for ongoing conflict and instability. Foreign influence over Libya's resources grew, with various powers and private companies vying for access to its oil wealth, further complicating the country's path to recovery. International aid has been limited in its effectiveness. While organizations like the United Nations and other foreign entities have attempted to provide assistance, the constant instability, ongoing civil war, and competing governments have prevented real progress. Despite the efforts, Libya's infrastructure remains shattered, and the suffering of ordinary Libyans continues, with no lasting resolution in sight. The international community's prevention has not led to the promised prosperity or stability, leaving Libya caught in a cycle of dependence on foreign aid and influence without real hope for independence or recovery. Libya's future is uncertain, but there is still hope for reconciliation. Despite years of conflict, there have been some ongoing peace talks aimed at unifying the country and rebuilding what has been lost. International organizations, along with local efforts, are working to bring rival factions together and end the division between the Tripoli-based and Tobruk-based governments. Economic reforms are essential to the country's recovery. Diversifying the economy away from over-reliance on oil is critical, as well as implementing anti-corruption measures that will redirect oil wealth back into infrastructure and public services. The country also needs a strong and effective government that can provide stability, build trust, and make necessary reforms. Libyans are calling for change, with protests erupting in various cities demanding better life conditions, jobs, and an end to corruption. While the path forward remains uncertain, with the right reforms and a unified government, Libya may still have a chance to harness its oil wealth for the benefits of its people, not just the elites. Libya is a country with immense oil wealth, Africa's largest reserves and the 9th largest in the world. Yet despite these riches, the people continue to suffer from poverty, corruption and instability, political turmoil, economic mismanagement, and the ongoing struggle between rival governments have kept Libya from realizing its true potential. The question remains, what would it take for Libya to finally unlock its true potential? Could oil be the answer, or is it part of the problem? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Also, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe and share this video so you don't miss our next episodes. See you very soon!